Welcome back, everybody. We're very glad and excited to have you with us once again. Today, we're going to cover Class 4 of Learn Spiritism with the topic Spirit, Perispirit, and Body. Let's get going. Allan Kardek, in the Spirits book, first part of the Spirits book is dedicated to the interaction of the spiritual world with our own physical world, or the spirit world, as he calls. Many questions are destined for us to understand, so that we can understand this relationship, the concept of creation, what we are as spirits, and what is God as the supreme intelligence of the universe. As we started in module number 1, with first question of Spirits book, what is God? Today, we're going to talk about spirit, matter, God, and many other subjects that it's covered in the first part of the Spirits book. The question number 27 of the Spirits book is as follows. There are then two general elements of the universe, matter and spirit, and the immortal spirits answer very wisely, yes, and above them is God, the Creator, parent of all things. God, spirit, and matter are the principle of all that exists in the universe. So that's where everything else comes from. Matter, everything that we see and touch and can feel, matter. Spirit, ourselves, or God's creation, and God itself, who, by the way, is not a spirit, as we know. As we learn from the Spirits book in subsequent questions, the immortal spirits tells us that spirits are the individualization of the intelligent principle, as bodies are the individualization of the material principle. It is the epoch and mode of this formation that are unknown to us. These are the concepts or the general elements of the universe. Let's move forward to the human complex. We humans are composed of 3 essential parts. First, our bodies, our organs, tissues, everything that's inside of us and around us that makes us function well. Our eyes, so we can see it. Our mouth, so we can talk, and etc. We also learn from Spiritism that this body is made of material things. We learn from science, better saying, that our bodies are made from components that are material, some cells, some chemical elements that we can understand where they came from. The second element of our human complex is our soul. We in Spiritism call soul the incarnate spirit, or the spirit who animates our bodies, the body, so we can have a life. We also learn that bodies without spirit have no life. Spirit without a body, there's still life. So, it's very simple as saying that spirit, something that connects the spirit to the body, so the body can have a life. So we, spirits, can animate this body. And this incarnation, I have this body, with certain attributes, with certain characteristics, like the color of my eyes, like my size, and etc. In my next incarnation, I'll have different sets of characteristics. Perhaps a different sex. Perhaps different things in my body that I don't have or I have today in my current incarnation. And we learn from Spiritism that the word soul, we explain it as the incarnate spirit. So we human beings, we spirits incarnated, we are also called souls. The connection between the spirit and the body is where this chapter is going to focus primarily on it. As Allan Kardec called perispirit, or this semi-material substance that serves us, or our bodies, or spirits, its first envelope that links our soul to our body. So in order for spirit, which is this fling, to connect to the material body, we need a perispirit. If we move forward, so we can better understand what spirit is as we've talked about before, we are the children of our Creator. And as it's very well explained in the Spirit's book, which we advise all of you to go a little deeper on it, so we can understand more about what some of these concepts that we are presenting to all of you today. So spirit is simply the intelligent beings of creation. Notice that the immortal spirits do not answer as the intelligence, but intelligent beings. So we are all intelligent people, right? Yes, we all are. Even the lower, it doesn't really matter. We're all intelligent. We all have the capacity to learn. We all have the capacity to understand, to grasp knowledge. Some more than the others, of course. But, as we know, in this life, we're only materializing. We're only individualizing what we've learned in previous ones. Because as we inhabit the universe, we live not only in this material body, this envelope that really goes over, wraps up our spirits. We live in the universal world, right? A spiritual world. Intelligent individualities as we are non-corporeal. Spirits have no bodies per se. They were created by God, as Joana of Angelis mentions that. They were created simple and unenlightened, which has to say that when we all were created in the same exact way. Some of us decided to make some pathways that led us to better or to worse situations in life. The important piece that I would like you to remember is that the spirits are of different orders according to our own degree of perfection, relative perfection. So, the more we learn, the more we enlighten ourselves, the more we become wise in terms of life, spiritual world, God, and etc., we may change this order. We may go from one order to the other. In the same token, if we mentioned about a school, once you pass all your tests, you can go from one grade to the other, given you prove that you have what it takes to be in that upper grade, and so forth. Therefore, the final objective of all spirits, of all of us, is to reach a relative perfection, is to come closer to God. And as we've mentioned before, the spiritual life is the normal life of the spirit, not this life right here. So, as we mentioned, we are here just momentarily. Our life is in the spiritual world. But for us to understand where we belong, we need to understand what are the orders that we have, or Kardec and the spirits, the immortal spirits, help Kardec classify them. 3 different orders. The first order, we have the imperfect beings, or the imperfect spirits, which are the majority of us in the life right now. We're still very imperfect. We still don't know much what we're doing. We still are making mistakes because we are most often proud. We still practice selfishness and so many other vices that we're trying to overcome day in, day out. So the third order is the imperfect spirits. The second order are the good spirits, those who most often are practicing goodwill towards others. And the first order are the pure spirits, those who have already reached the relative perfection and have already come closer to God. As we continue, let's talk about Perispirit. Allan Kardec dedicates a good chunk of the Spirit's book to talk about Perispirit. As we know, if you look at this image right here, Perispirit is the spiritual body that's connected molecule by molecule with our physical body. So, as we understand, it's this inventory of the spirit. It's energy, it's fluidic, it's semi-material. It's the vehicle by which the spirit, or we in spirit, communicate with our own physical bodies. It's that link between body and soul. It does not die with the age, as we know. It does not die with our bodies. Once we discarnate, once we go back to the spirit world, we maintain our last incarnation perispirit, or the perispirit from our previous incarnation. Also, it's the location of all of our memories. All of our mental progress is guaranteed to the renovation of the perispirit. It intermediates all the sensations that our soul receives, that our spirit receives. It also transmits all the sensations from the body to the spirit. In a very simple analogy, our brains, our physical brains, located on your head, are physical, but our mind is located in the spirit. And through perispirit is where the communication between mind and body, mind and brain, and body, of course, later on, is where is made possible. It's the conduit of our impressions from and to the spirit to the body. Because remember, it's connected molecule by molecule with our body. And talk about our physical body. Our physical bodies are this temporary habitation, or this temporary location where we in spirit are utilizing in this incarnation. As Joana of Angelis mentions, it's through this body that we have today that we acquire experiences, we improve our acquisitions, we can repair mistakes, repair some wrongdoings. We can even use that for our own benefit towards some more sublime aspirations. The Spirit Emmanuel says that it is the sublime sanctuary and one of the wonderful works of creation. So when God created us, all of us, immortal beings, His children, He gave us the perispirit, or this vehicle, so we could communicate with our physical bodies, or the vehicle that we would need to make progress or to achieve relative perfection. Emmanuel also says that, I quote, "The blessing of the body on earth, even if mutilated or disformed, is like a precious opportunity of spiritual evolvement." So every single one of our opportunities, every single one of our actions is an opportunity so we can achieve more evolvement, we can achieve more enlightenment. Andre Lewis writes something very interesting about perispirit, about our physical body, better saying. It's the first loan that we receive as spirits when we are in the flesh. So when we are almost incarnating, our perispirit is being formed. And the way perispirit is formed, we're going to touch more about this later on, but the way it is formed is the spirit will transform that perispirit in order to have all of the elements that are going to be needed for us to carry out our own incarnation. As Emmanuel very well said, it's the sublime sanctuary. To this day, we have not known how to cooperate in the preservation and involvement of the physical castle, our own physical bodies. He calls it this physical castle. Right? We as young humans, we spoil our possibilities sometimes. From outside in, wasting it without thinking. And when we do see ourselves harmed, right, or prematurely old, we became rebellious. We even destroy from inside out with mental acts of unjustifiable revolt and of useless desperation. So what Emmanuel is trying to tell us is that we need to be more careful with our bodies. Not only from what we eat or we put inside our bodies, but also from what we come out of our bodies, our mental thoughts, our mental currents, who have a repercussion on other people's lives. The last piece of this chapter is when we touch base on the immortality of the soul. Once we've been created by God, we will never die. We are immortal spirits, as was mentioned in the Spirit's book. We're not infinite, but we are immortal, because we have had a beginning when God created us. We were created different than God, who is infinite, which is infinite. With Spiritism, what was a question of faith became a proven fact. So let's go back into the foundational elements of Spiritism. Its scientific piece gives us knowledge, proves us that it's not a matter of faith anymore, but now it's a matter of understanding, rationalizing what it is that we're doing here. The dead are discarnate human creatures, however, completely alive. When our loved one goes back to the spirit world, we will still have an opportunity to go back and live and communicate with that person, if that is our mission, if that is our plan for the future. We as elementary principles of all the spiritualistic ideas, Spiritism proves rationally, with this whole scientifically basis behind the survival of the spirit, who will never die, without dogma, without mysteries. With that, folks, we conclude our 4th class around Spiritism. We invite you all to go a little deeper on that knowledge. Our time is very limited. But with more dedication, with more interest on learning more about Spiritism, we all can benefit from the knowledge, from the help and assistance that it gives us so we can better carry out our own lives. With that, I would like to thank you all for listening and watching, and have a great day.